With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and, of course, on YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly. The video feed is live, so you can see everything that's going on in the studio, and you'll want to see what's going on because at the bottom of the hour, I'll be joined by KFI's own Michael Monks, who was following in person the Menendez trial. Yes, there was a postponement, but there's more to tell you about what has been going on behind the scenes and what we should expect in the future come May 9th when the trial, or the hearing, I should say, resumes. So Michael Monks will be joining us. Well, I don't know if he's going to be joining us in studio, as a matter of fact. I think he might be remote, but he will be joining the show at the bottom of the hour. Also, we do have the most mispronounced words and names for 2025. And given it's only April of 2025, I'm surprised they have a 2025 list. But that's the list, and I've looked it over. It's reasonable. There's some words that reaffirm that we're idiots as a nation.
Are you going to have Tawala read the list?
No, I'll read it, but then we'll ask Tawala if he has an alternate pronunciation.
Tawala's name pronunciations are some of the most entertaining content on KFI.
No, you should see the way that people try to spell his name.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I've seen Tualla, Twalla. It's like, look, it's posted in a bunch of places. You can find out how the man spells his name.
Yeah.
And it's real funny when people want to reach out to me, they say Mo, as in M-O-E. So don't you see my handle is at Mr. Mo Kelly, and I spell it every damn night. M-R-M-O-K-E-L-L-Y. What in Mr. Mo Kelly says M-O-E?
Oh, we're all in the same club. People have messed up my name my entire life. Every graduation, everything.
You talking about Ronner, R-O-N-N-E-R?
Yeah, you're in the ballpark. Whatever. I don't even care. I'm going to become a Muslim and change it to X and just be done with it. Mark X.
They'll just deport you even sooner now.
Yeah, actually, X is getting overused lately, so I got to figure something else out.
You do.
Oh.
Mark O.
Marco.
Yeah, okay.
Polo.
Sure, why not?
And Tualla, I knew this. I knew you were going to put this story. I saw this.
You saw it coming.
I knew you were going to put this story. We recently had the all-female astronaut Blue Origin, the Shepard capsule launch, whatever you want to call it, with Gayle King and Katy Perry and some other women on there.
Did we?
Well, here's the thing. There's a new conspiracy theory where it didn't happen at all. That's the conspiracy theory. It was like a Capricorn 1 type situation.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some clues that people were pointing to. It's like, wait a minute, how did that just come back from space and the door is already open?
Exactly.
So that is something we're going to look into if George Nori hasn't already looked into it. I'm surprised.
We're going to be the first.
Okay, we're going to be first?
We're breaking it wide open.
All right. We're going to bust it wide open, like they say.
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, there was a stabbing this morning on the Metro.
What?
Yeah.
We haven't had a stabbing in a while.
I know. We got a little too complacent. And someone got their ass stabbed. This morning,
I was about to
rush hour, and it was in Pasadena.
I know, that's what really
Sierra Madre area-ish.
Yeah.
So Metro is back to Metroing. We're right on schedule for the Carless Olympics coming up in 2028. We're all going to be using the Metro, and we're all going to get stabbed. No?
Can we wear pads? Will they arrest us if we wear like bulletproof vests?
Actually, I think that is illegal. Mark, you did a cop beat. You may know.
Oh, what's the question? Sorry.
Is it legal to wear like Kevlar?
Where?
Anyway. Just in general, public.
Not that I'm aware of.
That's what I thought. I didn't think you could.
So we just have to risk
No,
getting stabbed?
but see, the thing is, it's not like anyone's going to know. It's not like you have like a Kevlar Levi or,
I just when we go car free, I don't want to get stabbed. I may have to catch that metro.
Then just don't get on the metro. If you don't want to get stabbed, there's an easy way not to die in a plane crash. Don't get on the plane. There's an easy way not to get stabbed on the metro. Don't get on the metro.
Well, how in the hell are we going to get around in a car free 2028 Olympic zone?
Well, that's what we were talking about last night. I'm just going to stay home and watch the games on my TV. It's kind of like the answer to everything. I don't want to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of a movie theater and people kicking the back of my chair. How do I solve that? I stay my ass home and watch it on streaming. It's a very, very simple proposition. Do I want to necessarily get Ronald by Mark Ronald when I'm out there driving? I try to stay off the freeways as much as possible.
If you don't drive like a horrible human being, you will not be given a one finger salute.
Well, that's very, very, very subjective. You may think that my driving is awful, but I happen to think it's absolutely beautiful.
If you practice good citizenship on the road, you got nothing to worry about.
It's the most beautiful driving you've ever seen. It's
really
the beautifulest.
Is it?
Yes. Because I said so.
Well, I'm also glad that there's nothing wrong with your self-esteem. This is good news all around.
I've never lacked for self-confidence. I can say that. I'm pretty sure I never have lacked for that. And maybe to the point of being a fault.
Yes.
But I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't think so. We're not there yet.
That's all? That's all
no,
you got?
That's my worst quality.
Are you sure you're the best judge of that?
Yes, I am. It is subjective, but my judgment is usually the best judgment.
Whatever you say.
And Stefan is here. Stefan, what's this? You're not going to be here. You're not going to be with us on Monday?
I will not.
Again?
I think he's dating someone else. Okay, I really do. What's her name? That's what I thought.
See that pause?
Is she at least cute?
It's Sophia.
Ooh, wait.
No,
the Sophia that we know?
The caller Sophia.
There's more than one Sophia. I just wanted to separate, which Sophia.
You're trying to throw us off the scent. You got something going on.
I wish.
I doubt that. See, he's so very humble.
Yeah.
He's self-deprecating. He
knows the ladies like that. They're probably trying to get on the phone right now. Oh, Foosh, we love you.
We heard all the calls. They see that Argentinian with the green eyes. They're like, what's his name? Oh, that's Stefan.
Look at this new goatee cut he's got.
Yeah. He cut his hair and everything. Look, you get the whole new man makeover. It's got to be for somebody. That's not an answer. That's a laugh.
No, I try to keep it.
You're not fooling us.
Try to keep it clean.
Oh, that's what they call it. Yeah. All right. It's Later with Mo Kelly, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and on YouTube. When we come back, we'll tell you about the latest metro stabbing and why it happened, at least to the best of our knowledge.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app as well as YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly. You can tune in and see the live feed right now. Had a question from the live feed chat wondering whether I was agoraphobic. We had briefly talked about the subway, and we're getting ready to talk about it now as far as the Pasadena Metro Station, where they had a stabbing earlier this morning. And I was talking about how I didn't necessarily want to ride the subway. And the question was asked, Mo, are you agoraphobic? I said, no, I would say I'm increasing in my claustrophobia as I get older. It's not like an irrational fear. It's not like I'm going to break out in a cold sweat or I'm going to be, really nervous. It just makes me uncomfortable. I don't like to be in tightly packed crowds. I don't mind. Like if you put me at Coachella, for example, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. But the idea of being on a very, very tightly packed bus makes me uncomfortable, not fearful, but uncomfortable. Because as we talk about these situations where there's a stabbing or something like that, I get uncomfortable with the idea that if something jumps off, I will not have any ability to really protect myself because you can't run. You can't really go anywhere. You're subject to the circumstances, whatever's happening at the time. So that's about the only way I can describe it. But yeah, I would have a fear, and Mark is probably going to laugh at this.
No, never.
Yeah. I would have a fear though, because I do have a dream from time to time. I wouldn't say it's recurring, but it's more than once where I ended up in a chimney. And that does scare the bejesus out of me.
One of your Santa nightmares?
No, it's just like you being in the chimney. It's like you can't climb out of it. Most likely you can't back your way out through the fireplace.
A chimney?
Yeah. Look, it's a dream. Don't try to make sense out of nonsense. It's a chimney.
That's so odd.
And it is odd. And I think about, like, I wouldn't be able to breathe. I wouldn't be able to move. You know, it's like Bruce Willis. Feel like you're a microwave dinner.
Is this a Gremlins nightmare that was set in?
I don't know.
You think you're the Grinch.
I have weird dreams.
I mean, from being caught pooping in public to being stuck in a chimney. Okay, I'm sorry. Metro stabbing.
Yeah, right. Before we get too far afield.
In any of these dreams, are you pooping in the chimney?
No. Excuse me. The Sierra Madre Metro passenger station was closed most of today. They were investigating a stabbing incident, and from what I understand, the person who was stabbed was taken to a hospital and listed in critical condition. One person was arrested for what I can read here, but there's not a lot of information as far as what preceded the event, whether the two people knew each other, whether there was a altercation between two people who didn't know each other, whether it was someone who was waiting for a train and someone else just followed him or her on the platform. Now, it's said the victim is in his mid-30s and suffered several stab wounds. That sounds kind of personal. It didn't seem like it was a momentary occurrence or as a crime of opportunity, but that's the only thing I can glean from it. And it says, quote, Metro is grateful to the LA Sheriff's Department who found and assisted a person on the pedestrian bridge leading to the Sierra Madre station on the A line after that person was injured following an apparent altercation. So it's not even clear whether it was connected to Metro or someone was trying to get away from someone and was going towards Metro.
But the magnet to this crime, to this stabbing, to this violence is still the magnetic pole of Metro.
Yeah,
Metro
invariably.
pulls violence.
Invariably. And this will be my question. From what we understand, LA County Sheriff's Department intervened. I know if they had dedicated Metro Police, they would have already been there. Now, maybe the LA County Sheriff happened to already be on the platform. I doubt it, because from when I was riding Metro, that's not what they did. Every once in a while, they would come through and ride the train and they get off like 2 stops later, but they weren't just sitting on the trains and sitting on the platforms. They would just ride from here to there. But, it's another stabbing. We talk about the robberies of 7-Eleven. What's the consistent variable? 7-Eleven. We talk about the crime on Metro. What's the consistent variable? Metro. I feel the same way now as I did maybe 2 years ago when we started talking about this. The crime is not a matter of statistics, but specifics. The crime is still happening on these platforms, on these buses, on these trains, and there's seemingly nothing they can do about it. Or there's nothing they can do to mitigate it the way things are at the moment.
At the moment, more funding to go towards more officers, not more ambassadors, more officers is the only answer. I love the idea of your lock 'em indoors or whatever they were called.
The turnstiles.
Well, not the turnstiles, but you have to pay to exit.
Oh yeah, tap to exit.
That did not prevent this individual from getting up to the platform to stab someone. That's all that didn't do anything. Right. I know they're putting in metal detectors on certain buses or stations or whatever. That didn't do anything to stop this individual from getting up and stabbing someone.
Yeah, this was on the bridge to the platform.
Okay.
So as far as we're concerned, it's still a part of the general public. Mm-hmm. But still, the common variable is Metro.
I'm going to get this individual on the Metro. Even if it's something that started out on the street, it led to Metro because that's obviously a safe place to get away or something. I don't know.
Right. It wasn't like the assailant was worried. Let me back up. Yes, I'm glad they caught the person. But clearly the person wasn't worried about being caught leading up into that point, because they wouldn't have tried to stab him.
Yes.
I can't in good conscience get on the Metro right now. I couldn't say to my wife, you know what? It'll be okay. The odds of you getting stabbed are 1 in 35. Don't even worry about it. Just go ahead and get on the train. Don't stand too close to the platform, and make sure that no one stands close to you because he or she or they may have a knife or a gun or some other blunt object.
Right now, the odds are closer to 1 in 1.
Do you really want to play those odds? I mean, do you want to play the lottery with, hey, you know what? On this day, nothing bad is going to happen, because it's not like it's happening at midnight. Or I should say, it's not only happening at midnight. It's happening during rush hour. You know how many people might have been on that platform at 7:45 in the morning? A bunch. Why? Because it's a work day. And 7:45 is a high traffic period. I know this firsthand. I would get on the subway at 6:15 a.m. in Long Beach, and it would take me to about 8 a.m., almost 8:15, to get here in Burbank. All that time, the trains are packed. Why? Because it's morning rush hour. So if this could happen at morning rush hour, then everyone is at risk. Every single person. Your mother, your wife, your child, your teenager, elderly grandparent, able-bodied man, every single person. Because, and you understand this, Tuwala, the stabbing may not have anything to do with you. You could just be wrong place, wrong time. You could be that innocent bystander who unfortunately gets caught up because you're just there.
Oh, yeah. Like you, well, maybe not like you, because you chose to catch the train into work to save time and energy on the commute. I didn't actually start driving until late in life. I didn't start driving until I was into my 20s. So I was on the bus the entire time. And I'm telling you, every time I got on the bus, there was that, not a fear, but that awareness that some violence could absolutely happen on this bus. I absolutely believe wholeheartedly that more can be done to protect passengers on the metro. And until such a time, maybe allow Metro riders to carry mace. Maybe they need a special, Metro weapon for riders. I don't know, because again, like my son, who today I wasn't able to give him a ride home from work. So it was like, look, hopefully you can get a ride home with your friends. And it's like that secondary thought of, nah, if not, you can catch the bus. And I immediately scratched out and said, nah. You're either going to come with me or you're going to get a ride home with your friends. Well, too, there was no bus in between.
Right. You don't want wrong place, wrong time. And who wants to play those percentages? I'm not just to convenience myself. Could I save some money and maybe some time by taking public transportation? Probably. But there's something I remember. I never closed my eyes. I never took a nap on the subway, even though I was dog tired. Why? Because something could jump off at any time.
Yep.
At any time. Sometimes it did, maybe not majorly, but still, you always have to have your wits about you when someone might get stabbed, presumably, or worse. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're going to catch up, speaking of law and order, with Michael Monks and find out the latest on the Menendez hearing today. Are they any closer to freedom? We'll find out in just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Live on the iHeartRadio app and also YouTube. And joining us now from the iHeartRadio studios in downtown Los Angeles is KFI's own Michael Monks. Michael, good evening. Thank you for spending your whole day, your literal whole day, covering the Menendez brothers. First, you were down at the Van Nuys courthouse. Now you're talking to me. We know from published news reports that the hearing has been postponed until May 9th, but I'm quite sure there was more to the day, was there not?
Mo, this was a wild day in Van Nuys, actually. And most of us who showed up there to cover it very early this morning anticipated being there all day today, but also back there again tomorrow. And I think fans and family of the Menendez brothers were chomping at the bit that this might be a real shot at freedom. But the day got off to a very strange start because word had come out last night that LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman had suggested that maybe we should delay this thing. He filed a motion to that effect. We didn't know why exactly, but when he showed up before entering court this morning, he came over and talked to all of us holding microphones in his face, which he likes to do. And he says, I got my hands on this risk assessment report that the state parole board has been working on per the order of Governor Newsom related to the Menendez brothers. And I don't think the judge has it, and I don't think the defense team has it, and I think they should have it. So to give us time to review it, I filed a motion to do just that. Let's take a break and let's look at it. That was the first little kink that we had in the day's events, because when they go into court and he argues this, the judge says, no, we're proceeding. But later in the morning, the judge halts everything and says we need to take a long recess because we need to get clarity from the state on whether anybody else is allowed to read this document. And that's where things really started to get weird.
I actually err on the side of the family who want the Menendez brothers released, in the sense that if you're in the courtroom and you have a shot or a chance, even though slight as it may be, you got a chance. And I think the Menendez brothers, against my wishes, have a chance to be set free. Now, did this, from what you could glean, did this continuance, this postponement, how was that received by the Menendez brothers and their counsel?
Not well. Not well at all, in fact. It was very strange to hear their defense attorney, Mark Garagos, after the fact. And we already know he thinks the district attorney has it out for the Menendez brothers for whatever reason, rather than just prosecuting this case straight down the line. But it got real intense afterwards. First of all, Garagos suggested that Hochman was using this document from the parole board as a weapon. You know, some of the family members said they thought they were going to have to testify and be cross-examined on the contents of a document no one had ever seen before. Of course, that's not going to happen and not been admitted into court, but they were saying this on the record with the support of their defense team. So that was very, very strange. But what ended up happening was Garagos got so angry that the second kink in the day appeared, a second motion, one that Garagos says he's going to file to have Nathan Hochman booted off this case, to have the entire case stripped away from the LA County District Attorney's Office. And he says he's going to file that very soon. So when May 9th rolls around, it won't be a hearing on whether the Menendez brothers should be resentenced. It will be consideration of these two issues. One, can this report from the state parole board be admitted into this case involving the resentencing? And two, should Nathan Hochman be recused from this case?
You basically answered my next question I was going to ask. I was going to ask you, how large does it loom that it's Nathan Hochman on this case and not George Gascon, who seemingly had a very different level of appreciation, my word, for the Menendez brothers' story?
I think what George Gascon, the previous LA County District, excuse me, I'm sorry if my mic broke up a little bit there. The previous LA County District Attorney saw an opportunity for his failing reelection campaign. Mm-hmm. He saw an increase in popularity there for the Menendez brothers because of some Netflix broadcast. And I think he might have tried to cash in a little bit as a Hail Mary to save his failing reelection campaign. It obviously didn't work. He was trounced in the November election by Nathan Hochman. Hochman has presided over this case in a way that I've even said to Hochman himself that it feels a bit like a law school class, because he never just comes out and releases a statement. You're always going to be sitting there in front of him for about 45 minutes while he meanders through all of the murky underneath of the law and explains all of the different paths. He did that even today. It's never right to the point, never giving you the soundbite right away that you need to file your story. It's always a full explanation of the law. But one thing is clear. Nathan Hochman believes Eric and Lyle Menendez committed a heinous crime. They murdered their parents in cold blood. They premeditatedly murdered them. They lied about it. They lied again about it. They lied again about it. They had an ever-evolving story. And even now, he says, even though they're arguing that they have new evidence that supports their allegations of sexual abuse and that they acted in self-defense, they have not fully owned up to what they did to their parents in Beverly Hills in 1989, and they have not expressed a level of remorse that is sufficient to him. And that is far different than what you saw from a more sympathetic George Gascon.
Before we go to break, let me just ask a question as a follow-up to that. What difference does it or should it make that the Menendez brothers show contrition when we're talking about resentencing? We're not talking about a parole board hearing, if that makes any difference.
It does, because again, there are 3 different paths that the Menendezes are currently seeking, all at the same time. They're fighting on all fronts. Today was about resentencing. When they were originally sentenced in 1996, it was to life in prison without parole. A resentencing could drop that down to 50 years to life. And because they were under the age of 26 at the time of the killing, they could be eligible for immediate parole. So that's very, very important. But one of the considerations is their rehabilitation. One of the other avenues they're seeking is a new trial. That hasn't moved forward yet. Nathan Hochman also opposes that. And the third one is potential clemency from Governor Newsom, which would require the involvement of the parole board. And that's where today's document came from. So now you've got a couple of these avenues intermingling and kind of screwing with each other.
Michael Monks, you have enlightened us to such a great degree about what seemingly was a non-event today, but there's a lot underneath just the news that the resentencing has been postponed. I want to talk to you one more segment if you got time for us.
Sure.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI's own Michael Monks, who's been reporting on the Menendez resentencing hearing, joins us, and he'll join us again on the other side of the break. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and on YouTube.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Mo Kelly, and also on YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly, live everywhere on YouTube and the iHeartRadio app. I'm right in the middle of a conversation with KFI's own Michael Monks, who spent the better part of the day. We were basically past each other. In fact, Michael Monks almost hit me in the garage today, tried to run me down. I was minding my own business. I thought I had right of way walking from my car to the stairwell, and Michael came to a screeching halt.
And you looked a little suspicious.
And then he gave me a runner and said, why am I in his path? I didn't know we were going to have this conversation tonight or not, just because of that.
I'm really sorry. I am a very pedestrian conscious, though. I promise you I would not have run over you. I might have had the thought, though. It was a long day.
Okay, you say that because you know that all of Southern California is listening right now. You just want to put that on the record.
I don't want to be suspected in anything. But I'm trying to be employee of the month here.
Do they still do that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I saw you won it once. You're still on the plaque.
Yeah. It's one of my finest moments in my life. I got to say that in my career. But to be serious, we were talking about the Menendez brothers, and I was wondering, I asked, like, does it really matter if it's Nathan Hochman or George Gascon? And there's an argument to be made that this might have gone very differently if George Gascon were still our LA County DA. But beyond that, when we get back on May 9th, there's no real reason to be able to forecast how these motions are going to play out. But do you get a sense of any momentum after today?
I was trying to think about this, like who won today? And it doesn't look like anybody did, because and I'll tell you something else that was really interesting. This event, they announced that, hey, if you're just from the public, but you want to sit in the courtroom and watch this, we're going to have a lottery, basically a raffle, and we'll pull the numbers out. And if your number is called, you'll have a seat in the courtroom. And when they did this months ago, when these hearings first started, it was a madhouse. There were 16 seats available today in that raffle. And I think there were just barely more than that who showed up for them.
Interesting.
So the sort of allure of this thing has worn off in terms of who's showing up. There weren't any protesters. There was one person running around saying, shouting free the Menendez. And I think there was a live stream involved with that. So who knows what that person was doing. But it was not a madhouse. It was mostly just guys like me, holding microphones with pens and notebooks and trying to report on what was going on. But the public interest, I don't know if it has waned, because it is still an interesting story. I think that's indisputable. These guys have been part of our lives for 3 decades, and a lot recently after years of no one really thinking about them. But nobody really showed up for them today or showed up for this event. I thought that was the first interesting thing I saw. And then the real interesting stuff started in the courtroom. So as far as who won today, I don't know. I think both parties left kind of angry. I think it got kind of heated. Some of the reporting I've read from my colleagues indicates that it got pretty heated in the courtroom. We're challenged because if you're there on the scene, you can't actually go into the courtroom. They take everything from you. They take your phone from you. You can't send send any messages out. So we kind of stayed outside and waited for updates that way. So I didn't get to see the actual courtroom, but reports indicate it got heated in there. I think this was like, if we put it into a sports event, this was just like a bad basketball game. Nobody was making any shots, and it was just brutal. And now we have to go to overtime and watch more of it.
Speaking of how the Menendez brothers have been part of our lives, even in a distant sense, for more than 30 years, I wonder about the larger evolution of how the media may impact the courtroom. What I mean by that is, I think of the Free Britney movement, how Britney Spears and her what was it? Her conservatorship, yes, where she was being overseen by her family, and how that changed because of media and also documentaries and what have you. I think about R. Kelly and how it wasn't until you had these dueling documentaries talking about, surviving R. Kelly that the legal end began to change. And I can think about this and public statements made by Kim Kardashian and others about the Menendez plight and their case, and how that's led, I think, in great degree to this, what we're seeing now. More philosophical question. What do you think the media has done, either done well or even done to its own detriment, to shape what is important in the courtroom these days?
Well, regardless of the score you might give the media, and not really the news media, mostly the creative, the entertainment media that has been created around the story of the Menendezes, it has absolutely led us to this occasion. There's no question about it. Have you ever imagined in your life that a 15-year-old would suddenly become a total stan of Eric and Lyle Menendez?
Right.
That's only possible because of this new media that existed, the documentary and the docuseries that came out on streaming. And George Gascon acknowledged that. Nathan Hochman has acknowledged that. And I think the Menendez brothers must be eternally grateful, regardless of what they think of their portrayals. They have to be grateful that media exists, because it turned the tide and has gotten them this far. They may not get out, but the only reason they have a fighting chance at all is because of the rise in their profile, because of that media. What I was thinking today was, I was a kid when the Menendez brothers were in the news, and I can remember that. Yep. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, what if my life had kind of stopped as I know it, but I'm still alive, but I'm kind of confined like they are in prison? 1996 was a pretty peak year. I think humanity kind of peaked there in the mid to late 90s. We had a little bit of internet. Culture was pretty good. I think all music genres were really at their peak. That's not a bad time to have the last memory of America.
Yeah.
But I wonder what it will be like for them if they do get out to be like 90s guys and re-released on the streets in 2025 America. It's quite a different place.
It is not an impossibility, and I think that is the takeaway. They have not a great chance, but more than no chance at all.
That's exactly right.
Michael Monks, we appreciate you spending your whole life down there today, and you'll probably do it again on May 9th. But until that time, thank you for what you do.
Just stay out of the way of my Pathfinder.
I'll do my best. It's that or take the subway and might get still run down by you somehow, some way.
You know me. That is my preferred mode of transportation, but they make me drive that company car, and it's very big and scary.
Yes, it is. It scared the bejesus out of me today. Have a safe, I'll probably see you tomorrow, but if I don't see you, have a safe weekend.
You do the same.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio.